Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And as my colleague Moana Maki alluded to, what I wish to ask about, it was a very good call. What I wish to start with, first of all, under the purpose of this part of the bill, the Minister is given the power to establish boards to make independent funding decisions. And I want to stress the word independent in there and quiz him, and I hope he will give me some response to the questions I'm about to raise about how some of the powers vested in this bill aid with that independence and that decision-making criteria. Under Clause 8 of this bill, the Minister is given power from time to time to gazette by notice given to each board and published in the Gazette criteria for the assessment of proposals for specified RS&T funding. But then the third subclause under that prevents the Minister from directing with regard to funding decisions on particular people. So the Minister couldn't determine that a particular person or a particular project was going to be funded. However, the power given in Clause 8.1 and then also particularly in Clause 10.3, which specifies that the Minister may specify that a board is to make funding decisions on proposals for specified RS&T funding in relation to one or more areas of research, science or technology or related activities, etc., etc. What I guess would like to know is how will the government ensure that these powers aren't used in such a way that that funding is directed to specific projects, specific people? Because in research, science and technology communities such as New Zealand, there will probably only be, in some areas, only one or two people or one or two entities working in a particular area. So it seems that the Minister is being given power in this particular bill to actually direct funding into quite specific projects. So I guess I'd like some comment from the Minister on that. Perhaps as a useful way of doing that, one of the things that this bill does is it requires that the Minister has to establish one or more boards. But I don't think we've heard really how the government envisage implementing this particular proposal. I would like to know how many boards, for example, does the government envisage establishing under this? Two boards the Minister is indicating, and I guess I'd be interested to hear what areas they are going to be working in and what the scope of those two boards will be, because it could well be that concern that I had around funding being directed in specific areas will be alleviated by the way those boards are going to be composed and the remit, I guess, if you like, that they are going to be given. Under the purposes for which RS&T funding may be allocated, I guess I was welcomed the order of priority, if you like, given in the ordering of the activities referred to, in the sense that the first priority, 2A, is to increase knowledge or understanding of the physical, biological and social environment. Because as my colleague Moana Meki says, we don't always know where scientific discovery is going to land up. And it could well be that some of the major advances in science and technology in the future come from pursuits and endeavours in the research area that at the moment we don't necessarily see as much value in. And so if we were to place 2B ahead of 2A, 2B being to contribute to New Zealand's economic growth, we may well miss out on some absolutely fantastic opportunities, because one of the concerns, I guess, that we have had about all funding for research, science and technology, when I say we, I mean we and generally as a country as opposed to specific parties or politicians, is that funding is being too narrowly focused on stuff with an economic impact and not on the wider value of science. And actually, if we want to really promote scientific discovery, research into new and exciting areas that we don't necessarily know where it's going to lead up, it's going to require a much more holistic approach than simply what's in this bill. This bill's pretty narrowly focused and as Moana Meki commented, isn't really going to change an awful lot. Actually, we need to look at where does science take place. Starting at schools, we're struggling to get kids coming out of schools that are interested in pursuing careers in science. And well, there'll be even less under national standards because science isn't given a particularly high priority under the government's national standards policy. And actually, that's where it starts. It starts with getting more kids leaving school wanting to pursue careers in science. And if we're not doing that, and the government has taken the science advisors out of schools, then actually a lot of the rest of this debate is immaterial. Also, I guess we have to look at the scientific research and endeavours that are undertaken in universities, not just CRIs.
Grant Robertson.
Sure,